Hi, everyone. I think for whether it's crypto content or presentations, I feel it's really good if it makes you a better guest at a cocktail party, if you have something to hang on to. So I think this is going to be the best for that. Anything you go to later, you're going to have something hot to say. So it's good we're all here. I'm going to kick off this debate. I think we have, OK, well, our topic is, are synthetic dollars going to cause the next Luna-style crash? I have here Jordi, who's the founder of Selene, or I should say in white and straight from a lot of experience from high school debating club. We have Jordi. And in gray vest, we have Haseeb from Dragonfly. Also, maybe not debating club, but many stages since.
That's right.
The upstart.
That's right. That's right.
The upstart.
Yeah, no pressure, Jordi.
Yeah.
I think the first, kind of the way to tackle this, we need a definition, right? What do we mean by synthetic dollar? I think it's best for the lads over here to do that job. So Jordi, we're going to kick off with you.
Yeah, we've kind of agreed a definition because it's very important to have the right words exactly used in this context. And the definition we've settled at is a synthetic dollar is a delta-neutral strategy that is, in essence, like rebasing as a dollar.
Yep.
So
Okay.
that's going to be a definition.
In terms of format, each of the debaters is going to have 4 minutes to lay out their initial case. They're then going to have 3 minutes to contest the other, and then we're going to have 2 minutes each for closing arguments. So how are you all going to vote on who the winner is? Well, it's going to be a victory by clapping. So kind of loosen up, get ready in that final countdown, and we'll see who's prevailed. OK, Jordi, we're going to kick off with you on my watch.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right.
You're going to stand up.
Yeah,
Right.
we have a lectern. We have a lectern.
Oh, we have a thing going on. OK. All right. I'm going to still walk around. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
Walking is OK, just no tears and no getting in the face of your opponent.
Can't make any promises.
Let's keep it civil,
We'll keep it civil.
but animated.
Guys, we've had quite a last 72 hours, and I think the message that, we were going to do this debate anyway, but once this happened, it's pretty clear that what can go wrong will go wrong eventually. That risk that, you think is a tail risk eventually comes and bites you. And we're not going to be talking today about, Ethena or like a specific stablecoin. We're talking about this general concept of taking what is something I love, tokenized funds. I mean, a lot of you guys here, probably like me, love the idea of tokenizing a fund, putting it on chain, everybody has access. The returns can be transparent. That's amazing. And stablecoins, I love stablecoins. They give you yield, even better, like some treasury yield, get something while it's sitting there. Love those two things. If you try to put them together, that's when things go very wrong. So why is the risk of a Luna-style collapse? Me and Haseeb were thankfully both, on the right side of that, publicly kind of, being quite careful about Luna. Just because Do Kwon was trying to bully everybody on Twitter and tell them that 1 UST equals 1 USD did not make it so. You can be incredible at your BD and your Twitter, and it doesn't matter. At some point, math catches up to you. And again, I'm not saying that a lot of these strategies are Ponzi-like, like Luna was. I mean, Luna, in essence, was just this money printing machine that made no sense and just created a large hole. A lot of these products are good products. I mean, we saw, over the weekend, they kind of didn't lose money. They had foresight, very good teams, ADL protection in place. But the reality is that eventually, there's no free lunch. If there's any yield over the treasury yield that these tokenized delta-neutral strategies can take, that will get taken away by the market very quickly. And instead, what will happen is two things. One is people will go on down the risk curve. They'll be taking hidden risk. That risk will be passed on to the entire crypto ecosystem at some point. But that risk is there, and as we've seen a couple days ago, it will manifest in the right or in the bad time. So more risk for more yield is inevitable, in my view. Number two is treating these things as dollars when they're not dollars. It gives the aura of safety. And a lot of retail just assume that all stable coins, anything that looks like a dollar is a dollar. We've seen time and time again how this goes wrong. The problem with the scale of these things now, as they get bigger and bigger, is that we're seeing things like hard coding. Like Aave, they've hard-coded that 1 USDE equals 1 USDC. This is hard-coded in the system. Now, it might look like a good thing. We just had a big collapse, and nobody got liquidated on that trade. People were looping it up. Great, it's hard-coded. While on Binance, where it wasn't hard-coded, things went crazy. We had a huge collapse, all kinds of problems. Now, it's not that one of those two things is better than the other. They're both a problem. Either you go the route of treating the collateral as whatever the public market thinks it is. So you don't hard-code it. You just say, OK, it's 95 cents, now it's 93 cents. And then people get liquidated as it moves around, which is what happened over the weekend. Or you might say this is better. You hard-code it on Aave, and you kind of get through these little shocks. You're kind of surviving those. And then, as this thing gets big enough, when something does go wrong, and there are things that can go wrong, as we'll discuss later, the whole system goes down. It's not just the people holding the USDE. It's like all of Aave. It's like the entire thing. So this is a huge risk, and I feel like we're on the slippery slope, where if this continues and we treat funds as synthetic dollars, we will have a Luna-style collapse.
Perfect time.
OK. So it's funny because Jordi started with the phrase, what can go wrong will go wrong, which sounds good, but it's obviously bullshit. Because there were a lot of things that could go wrong that did not go wrong. And saying what can go wrong will go wrong invites you to not think carefully enough about the microstructure of what actually will go wrong and why will it go wrong. Right? He also said we're not going to talk about Athena, then proceeded to talk about Athena. All right, obviously bullshit. We know what this debate is about. This debate is about Athena. Okay? So first, disclosure. We're investors in Athena. We also passed on every round of Luna. In fact, I published my 2018 pass memo where I wrote that Luna would fail when I passed in the seed round. Okay? Now, it did fail. Now, Luna is very different. It's extremely different. In fact, it's irresponsible to compare something like Luna to Athena. Okay? Let me explain why. First, Luna is reflexive. Why is Luna reflexive? It means that the collateral within Luna was endogenous. It was its own shitcoin. That means that when Luna is going down, the collateral gets worse and worse and worse in its value. Athena does not work that way. Right? The value of Athena is that what's backing it is delta neutral, meaning that it doesn't matter if Bitcoin's going up or down. In principle, the collateral should not be tied to the value of ENA or of USDE. So that's the first thing. There's no reflexive loop. Second, it has real revenue. Luna had no revenue. Luna was basically printing its own equity and using that to backstop its own token supply. Third is that Luna guaranteed a yield. Okay? This is the core sin behind Luna, was Anchor. Anchor was a lending protocol that guaranteed 20% yield if you minted UST. Okay? Athena does not give you a guarantee of yield. That's very important to understand how Athena works. When the yield on Athena goes down, the yield goes down. That's it. It's not a fixed rate. It's a floating rate. So there are times when Athena has yielded less than the treasury rate. Now, Athena now has moved to a model where if the yield goes down enough, they just move into T-bills, and they try to create a relative floor of the treasury rate. But it means that there is no guarantee on Athena. Athena is a floating rate, which is what a normal market mechanism is supposed to look like. And then lastly, Athena had runaway growth. Luna had runaway growth, meaning that it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and there was no way to compress the supply of Luna. Once it became really big, there's no way to bring it back. Okay? Athena works the opposite way. Athena's supply contracted. And Athena's supply can contract because Athena is bounded by the open interest available in the crypto market. Okay? So when it saturates the open interest, it doesn't get bigger. It can't get bigger. So Athena has a bounded size of the trade, has a bounded capacity. And the natural way in which that bound gets enforced is because the yield goes down. Because the bigger you get, the less yield there is. And when the yield goes down, people don't want to be in Athena, and it naturally equilibrates. All these market mechanisms are natural ways that you want a mechanism like this to work. Okay?
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. Basis trades are very robust across cycles. These are things that are very well understood. They're not exotic financial products like Luna was. And notably, I think as Jordi was alluding to, Athena did not depeg. There's a story out there that Athena depegged over the weekend. Not correct. Athena suffered a flash crash on Binance. But if you look on Curve, which is the most liquid venue for Athena, it never went below 99.7 cents. Right? And if you look at on Bybit, which is the second most traded venue, it went to 95 cents for about 5 minutes and then repegged. So the answer is what happened on Binance was a Binance-specific problem. That's why Binance is reimbursing people who lost money in the USDE market over the weekend. No other exchanges are doing that. Lastly, there are controls that exchanges have on USDE. They apply collateral haircuts. They have preventions on auto deleveraging. All these are very important for an exchange that's incorporating USDE. These risks, they understand them. People are not stupid. And so the big lesson that I want to take away is that the last crash is never how the next crash happens. It's very easy to scaremonger and say, oh my God, da 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 da. The same thing happened with the banking crisis. The banking crisis was not the same thing as what happened in the great financial crisis. It was different. The risks are always different. Everybody's always looking at the last thing that went wrong. And if you are fixated on the last thing that went wrong, you're going to miss the next thing that goes wrong.
Time.
That's all I got for now. Thank you.
3 minutes.
All right, my opponent is trying to tell you that Luna and Ethena are different. Again, these things are completely irrelevant. I agree Luna had its own set of problems, and I'm not saying Ethena at this size right now is a systemic risk. The point which my opponent has completely avoided is the fact that things are going in a slippery slope direction where, he just mentioned, oh, it didn't depeg. Guys, it didn't depeg. Binance just had this little waffle thing, it's their fault. But everything's fine. What Binance should do is hard peg it as well to 1. And then, when the next Ethena comes that has higher yield, because they're boosting their strategies, let's just hard peg that as well to 1, because it's fine. Like this is just how it works. I think this thinking is not first principles. You have to take things to their natural conclusion to see where things go. So yes, I'm not saying that tomorrow Ethena will cause the collapse of the crypto system, but these synthetic dollars are tokenized funds. Basis trades, my opponent will have you believe, are these things that have been done since the caveman years. They've always been safe. Basis trades are, part and parcel of the crypto industry. I know a lot of basis funds that got their ass handed to them a couple days ago. It's very unfortunate. A lot of them are my friends. Unfortunately, they did not have the ADL protections that Ethena had backdoored. But now that those things are public, those kind of protections are not going to be given out easily, and I think they will be taken back. There is ADL risk. There is exchange risk. As you are putting tokens on multiple exchanges to chase the open interest, we've seen exchanges go down several times. We've seen FTX go down. We've had Huobi, all kinds of exchanges have huge issues. So the amount of risks that are being taken, 1, are not small. 2, even just 2 days ago, most funds running basis trades had issues. The execution risk of unwinding these trades and somehow just putting it into treasuries are also, very large. And I'll just leave you with this one important thing. Once you rebase these funds and just create more tokens because they made 5% yield, let's give 5% more tokens, you can't put the genie back in the bottle. You can't unrebase. There is no word for that. I'm just making it up because it doesn't exist. You can't take away people's dollars that you printed and just put them back. It doesn't even exist. The concept of pegging or depegging doesn't make sense because, yes, Ethena does not guarantee a yield. It's not telling you it's 20%, but it is telling you that it is above 0. And no one can run a trade forever that has risk in it with above 0. So good luck putting that genie back in.
All right. So once again, Jordi opened by saying the difference between Luna and Ethena is irrelevant, which is a weird statement, given that that is literally the subject of the debate. So he immediately claimed that this leads in the direction of a slippery slope. For those of you who remember your high school English, slippery slope is literally a definition of a logical fallacy. Okay? A slippery slope invites you to think, what if an infinitely long series of steps were to all happen? Okay? If you're in a market, you cannot think that way. You have to think probabilistically, which is, what is the likelihood that each of these things individually will happen? And you multiply all those probabilities together, saying what if everything possibly went wrong? Then yes, of course, Ethena would go very badly. Everything in this industry would go very badly. But we actually got to see the real experiment run on Friday. We got to see it, right? The worst deleveraging event in crypto history. Biggest day of liquidations. And here we are. Ethena is completely fine. Okay? So the claim was that, oh, well, Aave is cheating. Aave hard-pegged their oracle to 1. And are you saying Binance should do that, that we should all just be hard-pegging our oracles to 1? No, that is absolutely not what I'm saying. And that's not even what Guy was saying. So in fact, if you look at the other exchanges, even though Athena temporarily dipped, they did not liquidate. They did not liquidate. Why did they not liquidate? The answer was because they knew that their exchange was not the primary venue for Athena. They were looking at all the other venues, including the liquidity on-chain, which is the correct way to understand the price of an asset. If you are having a bank run on your exchange, because your exchange, like in the case of Binance, does not have the ability for people to come in and out of it, then of course you're going to have price dislocations. But you should not be liquidating just because your order book doesn't have the liquidity, but that liquidity is somewhere else. Okay? That is why the answer is not hard peg it to one. The answer is take into account what's going on in the entire market. If in the entire market Athena is depegging, then of course you should be liquidating, right? But your index design or your Oracle design should look at the entire holistic view of the market. That was the problem with Binance. So, the question he was posing is, look, is this stuff safe? All right? Safe is always a relative question. Anytime that you're generating yield above the risk-free rate, you're taking risk. That's why it's called the risk-free rate. No question about that. So what is the risk in Athena? All right? The risk, one, of course, it's a floating rate. The rates might go up and down. Second is that you are not taking counterparty risk in the form of the exchange can steal your money. He was pointing out, oh, exchanges have gone down, exchanges have collapsed. The whole point of Athena was that it was created after FTX collapsed. Why is that important? It's important because only after FTX collapsed was off-exchange custody integrated by every single major exchange.
30-second warning.
Off-exchange custody, I'm sorry?
30-second warning.
30 seconds. Off-exchange custody did not exist before the collapse of FTX. That was a prerequisite for Athena to exist in a way that is transparent and safe, that doesn't have that degree of counterparty risk. Now, there's still unrealized P&L risk. If an exchange goes down, your unrealized P&L potentially gets wiped out. But that risk is much less than, oh, what if an exchange goes down, then all your money is gone. That is not correct. So all that is to say, and the last point he made, you can't unrebase. Yes, you can, is that there's a reserve fund within Athena, and what happens when all of that money comes out? The answer is that it trades below $1. Anything that takes risk has the risk of trading below $1. The important thing is that you understand that risk. Thank you.
Okay. I see we're close to standing room only in here, so packed house that's getting ready to clap. Closing arguments, 2 minutes each. Let's go.
Closing arguments. Guys, those of us who were here last cycle, the Luna collapse caused a 2-year bear market. I don't want this to happen again. Again, my opponent will have you believe that running a basis trade is not like running a hedge fund strategy. It is somehow part and parcel of the crypto industry. This is completely false. We've seen these things lose money over and over again. Even the best managers lose money. And I will remind you that Luna depegged once, and Jump, this is public now, there have been lawsuits, they repegged it for them. And when they first depegged, it wasn't that large. It was maybe like it cost $1 billion. Jump came in, put the $1 billion, cashed out. Second time, maybe the hold was like $10, $20 billion. That was a huge problem, caused the catalyst of 3AC and FTX, everything that happened. My opponent will tell you that, this thing just happened. It was just like a little $50 million thing, so it's fine. And actually, this has proved the system. This is making us less anti-fragile because he's saying that the fact that, we patched it up when it was small, this, in my opinion, is completely wrong. The risk only gets bigger the next time because you have a feeling of safety. These synthetic dollars give you a feeling of safety because they look like they're dollars. They are not. It is a fake feeling of safety. They should just accumulate like any other fund instead of rebasing, which assumes there's zero risk. That is a huge problem. The only thing that could, allow these things to properly function is if, the perpetual pairs were denominated in that coin. So instead of USDT pairs, and I'm sure Paolo will, roll in his grave before he allows this to happen, but if you took the Binance USDT pair and made it a USDE pair, then no risk. We're all just trading like little, we're all trying to accumulate more of these like tokenized hedge fund coins, and that's fun, and I'm actually like in favor of that. Let's do that. We can trade USDE pairs. But as long as the collateral is different than the base pair, and the collateral has risk, we are just walking ourselves into disaster.
So look, I started this argument destroying the comparison between Athena and Luna for a very important reason, is that if you don't understand the difference between them, then that disqualifies you from being able to argue by analogy to Luna. Luna was completely different. Luna was a confidence game. Luna was, okay, Jump has to come in and save the peg, otherwise this thing is going to collapse. Okay? Athena does not work that way. Nobody came in to save Athena. Nobody came in and said, oh my God, it's trading at 60 cents. I got to come in and save it because I'm an investor in Athena. There were no phone calls. There was no 11th hour war rooms or anything like that. The thing fixed itself because it is a different mechanism. It doesn't work the same way. And if you compare it by just saying, oh, well, these two things are not US dollar-backed stablecoins, therefore they're the same thing, then you fail to understand the difference in microstructure. That is going to be the mistake, not saying that, oh, well, this thing that's not a US dollar-backed stablecoin, therefore is fundamentally insecure. Look, at the end of the day, you made a point that's absolutely correct. A lot of people are taking on a lot of leverage. A lot of that leverage, of course, got wiped out on Friday, but there will continue to be people taking on leverage. But the people who will get wiped out from that will be the people who take on the leverage. That's normal. That will happen in every market. It doesn't matter what asset you put in front of them. There will be people who take a lot of risk, and some of that risk will be attractive, some of it will be foolish, and those people will get wiped out. But Athena itself, as a mechanism, as a protocol, as a token, itself is fine. That's not to say that it's riskless. There is nothing riskless that pays above the risk-free rate. That's not the burden of proof I have to meet here. The burden of proof is this going to lead to the next Luna-style collapse? That is the proposition. Is there anything over the last 20 minutes that has convinced you that Athena is going to lead to the next Luna-style collapse? Thank you.
Okay. So, because they both deserve it, and because I think we do have to get warm on the clapping, I want you to give both of them a round of applause. And I'll come in the middle like a heavyweight.
Okay.
Okay. Number one, we'll do one each.
Yeah, we'll do one each.
All right. For Haseeb. All right. Okay, I think I've got it. And now for Jordi.
Your call.
Oh, it's my. I think I need one more. I'm sorry. I need you guys to either double down or flip flop. So this is every vote in the world right now. I need something extreme.
Yeah, no wooing, only clapping.
No wooing. Haseeb, sheer clapping. Okay, Jordi, sheer clapping. I think he got it.
Oh, that's cheating. That's cheating.
This guy, I still think he got it.
All right.
Our winner.
Well done.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.